but chilly April 2nd, 2021. Taking a ride out to Gladstone today. Nice scenic branch of New Jersey Transit. We're just pulling out of Hoboken, traveling with my buddy Joe Strapple. Over there you see one of their ALP 45 DP dual modes. Not exactly the most handsome locomotives around. There's a Comet 5 cab car. That's pretty much all the cab cars you see these days, other than the double-deckers. A lot of stuff sitting here that'll be going out during the rush hour later. Comet 5 cabs all over the place. Get some highlights of the trip out to the Gladstone. Enjoying the ride, Joe? Just got started.
It sucks.
Well, wait till we get out on the Gladstone Branch.
Yeah, I'll see it. I'll know when I see it.
My apologies to my buddy. He's being a little facetious. But we're both looking forward to riding one of New Jersey Transit's gems, the Gladstone Branch. Beautiful branch. Right here we're passing by the MMC, Meadows Maintenance Complex. See MMC on the building. This is where they service all the equipment on New Jersey Transit. Even the Atlantic City trains, they come all the way up here to get serviced. And then they deadhead down to Philly to run on the Atlantic City line. They have a station here, as you can see, for the employees.
It's like we're making a stop.
It's like he's stopping to let somebody on or off. These Arrow MUs, I think these are Arrow 3s. They were built in the early 80s. They helped introduce the modern electrification on the Morrison Essex to Dover, Gladstone, and Montclair. The 25 kilovolt system, but they can be interchanged with the corridor with 12.5 kilovolts by flipping a switch underneath the car and on the pantograph. I can see some dinosaurs sitting in the yard over here. PL42 and ALP46. See 4200 in there. $42.12.
I think I just saw 4100. I don't know which one.
PL42 ACs, DP 4500, class unit. Some Arrow MUs, 46s. ALP 46s coupled to Arrow MUs. That's an interesting sight. Quite a few Arrow MUs here. Yeah, look at them. It's a CSX unit back there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for Meadows, but it's pretty sprawling. Okay, right here, we're on the Morrison Essex, of course. That line over there up high is the Northeast Corridor. New York to Washington. The third rail track behind that gondola car you saw is the path track for Newark. The number of trains that pass by here on a weekday are an enormous number. Not going to do the whole ride, just the highlights. There's Lane Tower right there on the Northeast Corridor with an ALP 46 sitting there with one Comet car. Comet 5, there's a PATH train. We just left Harrison. Next stop is Journal Square. Over there you can see the PATH shop. That building over there with the PATH's insignia on it. Got some Amtrak maintenance away cars, ballast. Main thing I want to show you are these beautiful Lackawanna Railroad structures along this line. On the Morrison Essex and the Gladstone Branch have some really neat stations. Well, here's downtown Newark. On the like Amtrak, we won't be going into Penn Station. We go into Broad Street, which has a beautiful station. Built in 1905. You'll get a look at it. Crossing over the Passaic River here. Get a good look at downtown Newark. Newark Broad Street. Where do you see this depot? Lackawanna Fortress, built in 1905.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's a depot. They're meant to last forever, those things. Yeah, leaving Newark, we go in a trench. Not very inspiring scenery here, but somewhere we go under the old Newark City subway track. Forget where it is. Today it's the Newark Light Rail. Well, here we're entering the Oranges. The highway down there you see below us is Interstate 280. Parallels this line for a distance. Here's the Garden State Parkway going underneath us. And this is East Orange. The station was built in 1923. Here's the Brick Church station, built in 1922. Brick Church gets its name from an old church to the north of us, the Second Presbyterian Church of Orange, which was built in 1878. There's the church right there. That's where this station gets its name. Now we're coming into Orange. Nice station, built in 1918. Beautiful station. Windows are a little dirty, but not too bad. But this is one of the nicer stations I've seen thus far. And we'll see more. Part of the 3-track main line, which goes as far as Millburn. It goes down to 2 tracks the rest of the way. On the Morris and Essex to Dover, Gladstone, it's a single track branch. Notice the concrete reinforcements, very heavy duty concrete. Well, next stop is Highland Avenue. I think that's in Orange as well. It has a interesting station.
Highland Avenue.
Same heavy-duty concrete supports. Well, the area is getting much nicer now. We're coming into Mountain Station, which is in South Orange. This is a beautiful station also. That building.
Mountain Station.
Site of some intriguing railfan adventures you could write books about. Notice the platform is rather narrow. There have been stories about large group of rail fans going here to watch trains. And with that narrow platform, it's like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. So it gets kind of difficult. But it is in a beautiful area, and it's a busy spot.
South Orange, man.
The station was built in 1915. Next up is South Orange. Here's another nice station, South Orange, built in 1916. Beautiful firehouse here. You can see the old firehouse in the background. It's very Gothic or Victorian style, whatever. And our next stop is Maplewood. It used to be called Volsburg Township, and it was changed to Maplewood in 1922. A little while ago we passed through a phase gap. It's like the limits of an electrical circuit. When you go through a phase gap, you can't draw power in these cars. If you do, you're liable to see pyrotechnics like never seen before. Definitely fire departments from all around would probably be down here. Well, here we come into Maplewood Station. Not sure when this was built, but one of the better towns. Nice station. I think this was built in the 19 teens. Rail fans like to come here. This is where the 3-track ends. After here you go through Milburn interlocking, it's down to 2 tracks. The rest of the way to Summit. Nice area between Maplewood and Milburn. Very nice towns out this way. See the forsythias blooming, the April flower. They can bloom a little earlier depending on how warm the winter is. There's a cherry blossom.
Attention passengers, Milburn is next. Exit at the end doors only. Center doors will not open because they do not have stairs. End doors only where you see conductor.
Yeah, it might be a little challenging to get off at the center door. There's no stairs. Unless you're a track and field athlete. Right here is where we go down to 2 tracks at Milburn interlocking. Right past this stone arch bridge here. Here's the interlocking. Here you go. 2 tracks, reverse signal the rest of the way. Coming into Milburn, first reached by rail in 1837. There's an old depot here. It was torn down, I think, in the 80s, and they built this structure. Rather unassuming looking structure. And we're climbing the grade now. We're approaching Short Hills, one of the prettier stations on the Morrison-Essex. It was built in 1907. The original station was built in 1879. Nicely manicured grounds here. Short Hills. Near the station.
Short Hills.
It's a real fortress looking station. Huge. And there's a restaurant in here. Some good indoor and outdoor dining in the warm weather where you can watch the trains go by. Kids love it. Especially this 66-year-old kid. From here to Summit, we're climbing a grade. Summit is appropriately named as it's the top of the grade.
Summit Station next. Change here for all stops to Dover.
Yep.
After Summit, this train
Boxcar
all
Bar
stops
and
to
Grill.
Gladstone.
It's the name of the
Summit
restaurant.
Station next.
Nice little town here. And we're still climbing a grade.
The orphanage part. I missed the best part.
Oh, that is the best part. Okay, we're coming into Summit. For you baseball fans, this is the birthplace of former Kansas City Royals star Willie Wilson. Remember Willie Wilson? Fastest man in baseball. It's like in the 70s. He was the guy who struck out when the Philadelphia Phillies won the 1980 World Series. So that wasn't one of his better World Series. But Willie Wilson was a great ball player. Blazing speed. Got 200 plus hits a number of times. Summit is in a trench, the station. There's 2 platforms. There's 3 tracks.
Now arriving Summit Station, change here for all stops to Dover, Summit.
Yep. After here, we enter the Gladstone Branch. We'll be swinging all the way over to the far side. The track over there on the far end is not the branch, it's actually called the wall track. Until you go through the interlocking here at the west end of Summit. Then we'll switch on to the Gladstone Branch. Now as we leave Summit, and I can see a few snowflakes coming down on April 2nd, no less. Interesting. Well, it happens. Here we're switching over, coming off the lane line to Dover, and we're going to switch all the way over to where the wall is, and then we'll be on the Gladstone Branch. Right.
Providence is next.
Okay, we get this fantastic scenic view. This is the beginning of the Gladstone Branch. Actually, it's a lot more scenic than this. So now we're on the single-track Gladstone Branch. We're coming into New Providence.
New Providence, to stop New Providence.
The station was built in 1899. Used to be called West Summit until 1927. New Providence. May interest you to know the Gladstone Branch was not intended to be the Gladstone Branch. It was intended to go much further to the Delaware River and subsequently to Philadelphia.
Murray Hill's next.
But the Pennsylvania Railroad felt encroached by that, and they kind of put the kibosh on the whole idea. So the tracks never went further than Gladstone. In fact, another name for this line, Gladstone Branch, is the Passaic and Delaware Railroad. They did intend to go to Delaware River and beyond, but never went past Gladstone. In fact, if you look at signals, the signal numbers underneath the signals, they have a P in front of the mileage. The P is for the Passaic and Delaware. Central Avenue crossing, it's a 4-way crossing. You heard the horn on this Arrow MU, that's the first railroad crossing encountered. The horns on these Arrow MUs are rather nostalgic. Westinghouse Air Brake Company AA2s. We're going to be meeting a train here at the next station of Murray Hill. In fact, there's a crossing just before he comes into the station at Murray Hill. Gladstone trains on the branch generally meet trains at Murray Hill and Far Hills. Nice old station. Painted in traditional Lackawanna green and red paint. I couldn't get information on when it was built, but it looks pretty old. Enjoying the ride so far? You're a hard man to please. He's waiting for the opposition. We're meeting a train here that'll be passing right by him.
Yes, sir.
You know, see if you can yell, "Let's go Mets," as it passes by.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they'll hear you. Service is pretty much hourly during the off-peak hours from Hoboken to Gladstone. Operations really haven't changed much here in the last 30 years. It's primarily the Arrow MUs, although during the rush hours they do run a couple of electric locomotive powered trains from Penn Station, New York. Weekends right now, service is suspended for maintenance work. They're running buses. Hopefully they'll reinstate it soon so I can get some action trackside along this little branch on the weekend. I can hear him blowing his horn. Here he is. That's a Westinghouse Air Brake AA2 horn, Joe. How do they sound compared to a K5 LLA?
Let's not even talk about it.
I like them. They're have a kind of a quaint interurban type sound to them. Compared to the Silverliner 4s on SEPTA, I hate those things. The S2Ms, you know. Then you have the Avelia Liberty horns. You know, have to get the insect spray to kill those things. Man, oh man. Gladstone Branch is back when Hurricane Sandy hit in 2012. Really wrecked this line. Washouts, catenary poles were destroyed. They had to rebuild this line. They had this line shut down for quite an extended period. I think about how this branch used to be. Very primitive. It had very limited service back in Erie-Lackawanna days. I think on a Sunday, about 5 trains a day each way. Now it's hourly.
Berkeley Heights, it's stop Berkeley Heights.
Coming into Berkeley Heights, has a old station here, I think. It's on the other side though. But this line used to have hand-thrown switches at the sidings. You have to stop, throw the switch, go in, then go out, throw the switch back again, and time consuming. It's much better now with the controlled sidings. Controlled sidings on this line are generally at Murray Hill, Sterling, Bernardsville, and Far Hills. Far Hills is actually at times a very busy place. They have the steeplechase events for horses. They run special trains out here on the weekends. Coming into Gillette, doesn't seem to be any kind of a structure here. And no, this is not where they make the razor blades.
Gillette.
It's starting to get nice on this branch at this point. Just passed through a swampy bog on the way out here. Yeah, this line was like an interurban railroad. The limited traffic, the wooden catenary poles, the hand-thrown switches, and those old 1930s built Lackawanna MUs. Even today it's still quaint to a certain degree. The scenery is still nice, and the cars that serve this line are like 40-something years old. Just left Sterling, passed through a phase gap. You can identify the phase gaps by having the PG signs on the catenary poles. These cars cannot draw power through them. Otherwise, they'll cause all kinds of fires and sparks. But the electric locomotives can go through it without any problem, because there's like special devices on the track that automatically cut the power on the electric locomotive, so it doesn't do any damage to the equipment. That's pretty country through here. Station is Millington. Right after Millington is one of the scenic highlights of the branch. We go over the Passaic River on the Millington High Bridge, they call it. We'll definitely get that. Right after that is a railroad crossing. All right, pulling out of Millington, be crossing over the trestle over the Passaic. You should see it with considerable elevation above the Passaic River here. Coming up to it around this left-hand curve. Here it comes. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, see? It's right here's where Dean usually parks.
That's cool. Good spot.
Good sun angle, get a beautiful shot there. I mean, coming into Lyons. A little station here. Nothing noteworthy. More forsythias. Today's Good Friday.
Lions, just stop Lions.
Easter's the day after tomorrow. Good Friday, Catholics must not eat meat under any circumstances for fear of death. I was going to have dinner with some people in Hoboken tonight. We had to choose a restaurant, and they wanted to go out and have chicken wings and stuff like that. And I said, I can't go there. So we agreed to go to the elegant sounding Wicked Wolf Tavern, where they have rigatoni alla vodka. That'll do fine for Good Friday. Other than that, I don't care. Rustic community out here. This is Basking Ridge, settled in 1720 by British Presbyterians. On the top of this station at one time, you can see the, well, there used to be a semaphore. Indication of the hand-thrown switches and block stations they used to have here and everything. And here we're coming into Bernardsville. This is a location where there's a siding. You can see it's shiny, they use it. Yeah. Bernardsville. After Bernardsville, the rest of the way to Gladstone, the ride is at its most scenic. There's some, they've done business here with stone. They run stone trucks in there sometimes. Get some of the scenic highlights on the way back, because there are things that are good on that side that you don't quite see on this side. But right here, we're going through Ferrante's farm. There's a couple of crossings that farmer Ferrante uses. Really pretty here.
Wow, this is nice.
I told you, it's the nicest part of the whole ride down here.
There's some cattle down here.
Yeah, well, that's Ferrante's farm. It's just mainly some rolling fields here. Yeah. See the you see the white church?
White shirt. Yep, I see it.
Yep. I think he's blowing from Meeker Road here. Little dirt road here. This is still pretty rustic out here. Not many houses, but it's what makes this branch so popular with scenery buffs. Quaintness of the operation. I think that's Meeker Road. That other crossing, I think, was probably still part of Ferrante's farm. Next stop is Far Hills. Lake and a stream here. We're going to be meeting somebody here at Far Hills as another controlled sighting. With few exceptions, they primarily have the meetings at Murray Hill and Far Hills. Sometimes a couple of other places like Bernardsville or Sterling. Town has a huge population of horses when they have the steeplechase races events. Here's Far Hills. Crossing over US Highway 202 is the Lackawanna Far Hill Station.
Stop Far Hills.
One of the bigger depots on the branch. After we leave here, we'll pull in up and meet the opposition. There's the old freight house. And you can see the siding here. We should be meeting our opposition. Should be out of Gladstone by now. I think he's due out of there. Here he is. He's sitting right here. Another ROMU.
The train going the other way. Just not much else you're going to see during opening hours.
He's probably sitting here a few minutes waiting for us. Well, he's notching out. He's got his clear signal. Next stop, P-Pack. Okay, here's a truss bridge and a tunnel going over the river. I wonder if there's a way to get to that spot. I'd love to get a shot here.
There's a dead
Okay, we're coming into Gladstone now, the end of the line.
family.
There's a crossing up here with flashers. Supposedly you should be able to hear the bells.
Yeah, let's see. Oh wow, this is pretty. There's a little waterfall here.
There's a park here.
Oh, this
Here it is.
gorgeous. Some swans on the pond.
And you can hear the bells. Old-fashioned railroading. Coming into the yard, into the station. And we have arrived at Gladstone, New Jersey. The end of the Gladstone Branch. This station was built in 1890. One of the more scenic train rides you could take in the New York metropolitan area. So here's the absolute end of the Gladstone Branch, although there was one train that went a little further. Back in November of 1961, I believe it was at this spot, train went off the bumper block and crashed into a house. Destroyed the living room of that house. Story behind that, I don't know how accurate it is. The people who lived in that house had company and they were having a prayer meeting in the house. In the kitchen is where they actually had the prayer meeting. If they had the meeting in the living room, they all would have been killed. So it proves one thing. It's great to have faith. Save their lives. And between trains, we'll hope to catch a couple of trains going by. Walking around the little hamlet of Gladstone. Beautiful town. Had a nice lunch. This wonderful quaint structure is the Peapack Reformed Church. And we're at East Gladstone, just where the block starts going east, by this little crossing with flashers. We catch the train heading out of Gladstone back to Hoboken. Train coming out here was piloted by a friendly engineer. We met him in the deli here just a little while ago. Does this run every day. And nice fella. He promised to put on a nice horn show for us here with those Westinghouse Air Brake Company AA2s. Just pulling out of the yard. Nice little stream with a waterfall alongside the track here at the crossing. There's a little park here with a lake also. And 210, we have a Hoboken Gladstone train coming in, passing the scenic setting. And the blossoms are blooming alongside Liberty Park Pond in Gladstone, New Jersey. Just a charming town. If you like English masonry architecture, St. Luke's Episcopal Church here in Gladstone is a gem. We're a couple of those sick bastards.
No, trust me, I didn't my whole life.
You know Ben Ormond?
Yeah, I know that.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see him later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's a big buff.
Yeah.
big buff.
You ever go up to the equipment they got up in Hoboken?
No, I heard about it though. I'd like to see it.
That's all like URHS equipment up there.
Yeah, they have a GG1 up there, I think.
4877.
Yep.
I rode in it the day they retired.
Oh wow.
I was 10 years old.
Tell with a shirt, I'm a Long Islander. I don't know anything about this stuff.
Yeah.
He's been around, you know.
I'm sure it's all weather beaten by now, that thing.
Well, you know what? The thing that kills me is I used to be involved with the National Railway Society. I used to be involved with it all, but then working out here, it just took so much time away from it.
Yeah.
They spend so much money on restoration for equipment, which is nice, but they got to get a museum. They got to get like an indoor museum. You know?
Yeah.
Like the one they got like out in Strasbourg.
That's a great one.
You know?
But it's been closed for the last year almost.
I heard they reopened it.
Really?
They
Oh.
just recently reopened it, I heard.
Oh, cool. I got to check it out.
Yeah.
That's a
My
great
grandfather's
spot.
name is on the plaque over there.
What's his name?
Lauren Field.
Oh.
He built he built locomotives for Bowman.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
My father didn't carry on the railroad tradition with the family, though, but I was the next one.
Oh, well, at least you got a partial bloodline there anyway. So.
A good friend of my uncle's works for Trans. You know Tom
Yeah, we're
Zetlin?
leaving Gladstone.
Tom Zetlin?
Nah.
Oh, okay, I think he works.
Gonna catch the scenic part of the ride from here to Bernardsville and a few other
I think he works
spots.
Montclair Boonton right now. but
Okay.
Got a rail fan conductor with us here.
How much time does he have out there?
I'm not sure exactly, but I've met him before, but I don't know him that well. But I know he's good friends with my uncle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
On this one, we use it red too? Yeah, we're just using this car and the next one. Okay.
Alright.
The last car's the battery. For those other last two. Alright, cool. Yeah, you take it up to after Lions. Take a chill. I'll take it to Southern.
This is my first time on this line. Very scenic.
The section between Bar Hills and Burnsville is like the most scenic.
Yeah.
The whole system.
Yeah.
Where are you guys from?
I'm from Long Island, around Amityville.
Where?
I live near Amityville,
Okay.
Lindenhurst to be exact.
Yeah.
Glen Cove. Not sure.
I haven't been to Long Island in a long time. I mean, I've been I've been all the way out to Montauk, but that's a long
P-Pack.
time ago.
Interesting place.
Greenport's a nice ride. By the rails, Greenport's nice. It rivals this, I think. But
Get to hear that Westinghouse AA2 horn. Next stop is Far Hills, where we meet our westbound counterpart. nicer than the Newark Trench. Buzzing you hear is the dynamic brake on this. He's taking it easy. He's got a restricting signal for the meet up ahead at Far Hills. Ready to hit the siding. And our position is he's at the station now. And our wait here should be a brief one. We're at milepost 39, measured from Hoboken. Gladstone is approximately 42.7 miles.
Can I get permission to use stop override, west direction, Far Hills?
Your force one permission granted to utilize that stop override button.
Roger.
Here he comes. Go back on the main. US Highway 202. Next stop, Bernardsville. This is a real scenic part of the ride here. Engineer's door open, you can really get to hear the sounds coming from the cab. Alerters, brakes, radio transmissions. Farm.
Take a look. I goes back and put my tie on anyway. What's that?
AA2 horn. It really makes this thing sound like an interurban. The countryside only adds to that effect. Ooh, this is a rough riding car. Car number 1408. Coming into Bernardsville. Hearing that horn reminds me of the old Penzie and Reading Bud Silverliners. Bernardsville, nice old station. Next stop is Millington. Go over the Millington Trestle. I guess. The turkey vultures, turtles, deer. No bears.
Oh, this is the quarry over here?
Yeah.
I've seen it in
Ooh. I feel like I'm at Coney Island. Okay.
It's hot out up there, so yeah.
Got a crossing before the viaduct, so that'll warn me. Passed by an old stone quarry that was served by the railroad at one time. Not anymore. Ready.
Oh wow, look at that.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the Passaic River down there. Another wonder of the scenic Gladstone Branch. And the majority of the trains on this branch are these like 40-plus-year-old Arrow MUs. Quite a gem to ride on. Millington. Nice station here. Look, it's a restaurant. Got some blossoms here. No business. Hearing those horns kind of reminds me of the old North Shore line. That was that high-speed interurban railroad between Chicago and Milwaukee. We used to use the L in Chicago. Used to use the L out of Chicago, and when it got north of the city a ways, went on private right-of-way, which was fast. They could do 80 miles an hour, and then as they got closer to Milwaukee, they ran down the street. In spite of all that, they still had a decent schedule from Chicago to Milwaukee. About an hour and 40 minutes, I think. They used to run the electro liners on that, and those were fast. They had electro burgers served in the dining car. I remember recordings of the North Shore line. Some of the cars had horns that sounded very similar to this one. The great Chicago North Shore Milwaukee Railroad. That's what this reminds me of. I never rode on it, but my knowledge of that is strictly based on recordings that I had heard. stations where they have meets, but not now. Passing through swampland here. There isn't much territory where these Arrow MUs can blow these AA2 horns. Probably more crossings on this branch than anywhere. There's a few on the Morris and Essex out to Dover, west of Summit. The Princeton Shuttle has a couple on it, and the North Jersey coast down the Long Branch has a bunch of crossings south of, or from South Amboy onward. But other than that, not much territory where they can blow. Nice to hear these horns. Better than the S2Ms that SEPTA has on their Silverliner 4s. These cars much more appealing with their center doors, stainless steel construction, and just overall quaintness about them, especially in this branch. First Arrows that came, the Arrow 1s, St. Louis Car Company. They were delivered in the late 60s. They started to replace the MP54s. That was on the Pennsy though. They didn't run here. They didn't start running on the old Lackawanna until 1984 when they replaced the old MUs that ran between Hoboken and Gladstone and Dover and Montclair. And I think in September of 84, the Morris and Essex was completely modernized with these electric MU cars, the Arrow 3s. You can hear the conductor and the engineer having a conversation about old right-of-ways.
He hit a horse there. Oh, that's why they call it horse cross.
Berkeley Heights. Nice old station here. Can't get enough of listening to these horns. They're not the prettiest sounding horns compared to like a K5 LLA or K5 LA or a RS5T, but they have a certain quaintness, like an interurban, harkening back to electric railroads of long ago. Yeah, we'll hear them blowing for the crossing right here, leaving Berkeley Heights. We made our last meet at Murray Hill, and we'll go over our last couple of crossings on this branch for the rest of the trip, actually. Once you get to Summit, there are no more grade crossings.
We have a slope here, sorry.
You heard the engineer call out a slow clear out of the siding here, Murray Hill. have to make our station stop. We haven't done it yet. The opposition train that passed by that we met had the rights in here.
Roger, 428, still clear, Ariel side.
Okay, back on the main. Over the Hackensack River, approaching Hoboken. You can see downtown New York City in the distance. Our trip from Gladstone is almost over. Great trip. Scenic ride, at least out there. Good action. Enjoyable trip. One of the more scenic commuter lines to ride on in the New York metropolitan area. You can see that New York City is becoming a skyscraper mecca. A lot of tall, skinny, spindly buildings are being constructed there. You couldn't pay me to live on top of one of those buildings, even if you gave me the rent for nothing. We're approaching West End interlocking. Tracks in the foreground joining us are that's the old Erie side there. Your Bergen County line, main line trains, Pascack Valley line trains use. There's West End Tower right there. And we're about to go into the Bergen tunnels. See if we catch anything coming out of the tunnel. A friend of mine in Hoboken says there's tons of PL42 powered trains there and a few GP40FH powered trains there. Here we go, going into the Bergen tunnels. These were built by the Lackawanna in 1908, excuse me. And we just came out of the Bergen tunnel approaching Hoboken. Here comes a PL42. Planning on scrapping those engines soon. They're troublesome, break down quite a bit. The 50-year-old Jeeps and Fs do a much better job than they do. But like anything else, there are good and bad apples even in the older engines. This interlocking here is East End. Back in Erie Lackawanna days, you would have seen a bunch of diesel trains with E8s, GP7s, RS3s, and the electrics were those old MUs that Thomas Edison broke in when they came out in 1930. See some consists over here. An ALP 45 DP. Behind it is another PL42. See a couple of Jeeps.
Bunch of MUs on the right side.
4110 and 4218. There's 4103 over there. There's 4101. Maybe he's in the station. There's another PL42. There's F40 PH-2 Cat 4120 over here. There's 4203. You can see the clock tower of Hoboken Terminal.
Rod, you ever play those computer games? Yeah.
We're supposed to arrive Hoboken on track 14, but there's an MU on 14, but it's just pulling out and it's about to pass us.
It does.
There's car 1367 on the point.
I got like a iBuy power computer and an RX 480 graphics video driver, which is not the best enough course.
Yeah.
But I'm very impressed.
Same here. I'm in the middle of the road.
You know,
Yeah.
but when you buy those things, you gotta have.
There's Hoboken Terminal Tower.
You know what?
It's 4:32. We're just about on time. Arriving at Hoboken, the birthplace of Blue Eyes, Frank Sinatra. There's often some debate about how this town is pronounced, Hoboken or Hoboken. As far as I know, it's pronounced Hoboken. That's the way to pronounce it. Hoboken is still a very busy place. If you like watching diesel trains on New Jersey Transit, this is a fabulous place to go. Especially if you like the older power. You can see some older power up ahead there. We got 4204 right next to us coming up. 4901 is over there. 4903 is over there. What the hell did he just say? I heard that. Boom. Track 14. Where's Dean? He should be out here somewhere. End of the line, Hoboken, New Jersey.